Hello guys, welcome back to another one. Try2. Scotty Senior here. This is Try2 at the Tokyo. Unsure what version of the Tokyo it is, but the South Outer Loop. There it is at the top of the screen. Tokyo Expressway South Outer Loop. 15th again. Another poor qualifying for us in this one. We have misjudged qualifying at this round. We haven't had a good qualifying. We have had no slipstream, and it's clearly the wrong way to go. We're just trying to hit our own lap. So starting this one in 15th, medium tyres to start us off, and again a thoroughly enjoyable race about to happen. Lots of patience required and smart driving. In fact, one viewer on the live stream thought it was a masterclass in patience. Thank you, Mr. Tom. Losing the back end a wee bit there on the cold mediums and dropping back to 16th. But we're still there. We a shitload going down. There's a penalty handed out, and again a wee slice of luck there. That guy clearly looking behind him, and brilliant driving by that guy, leaving enough space to be overtaken on the left and the right. Lucky there, no penalty handed out for that bit of contact, and we're slightly more aggressive this time out. Just going defensive there to discourage others. And he's just turned in this and put us into the wall there, which drops us back down to 17th place. So again, no luck to be had for us at the moment. And again, we'll gain one, we'll lose one. But early days, only lap 2, a big 18 lap race. We'll jump outside. And as I say guys, if you prefer watching live streams and see the sort of stuff that is being said and spoke about or what have you when it's going down live rather than the videos, feel free. All the races that I do are live streamed. Sometimes I watch and join the live stream race back rather than the videos. And again, we're being more aggressive in this race, and deliberately more aggressive. We're putting them off there. We're going extra defensive after throwing that aggressive one, and again held up a wee bit, and there's still no luck to be had. But yeah, we did take note after the first race about being that wee bit more aggressive and picking and choosing, especially as we're learning these penalties. And these penalties are 100% in the next few races. You will see how nervous guys get if you get a nose on the inside of them. They're no longer swerving back across to block you or coming back in to squeeze you. They're giving you lots of space when you throw aggressive moves up the inside. They do not want any contact, because these penalties they seem to be handing out the penalty to the car on the outside, which means I don't mind it. I quite like it. It's encouraging the guy on the outside to be very willing to give up a spot rather than having to fight for it a lot. It does mean guys are busting their private parts to get up the inside of you and to get a nose on the inside of you, but that You are ahead, you can't defend that, and force them to the outside. I quite like that part of this penalty system. I've only had 4 or 5 races with it. Although the ramming bit, they need to do something. At the moment, you're just allowed to ram people off, which is going to make aggressive people and cheeky people just drive into the back of guys and push them off. And we're not going anywhere here. We'll jump out. But I do suspect this was a favourite wee spot of Magni coming down here. We decided to start picking them off there and going aggressive. If they left the inside open, we were placing ourselves there in the knowledge that if he comes back in and he doesn't see us and he hits us and it's his fault that he hits us, he's going to receive the penalty. And we're always prepared to try and hit the apex and leave them on the outside the space, so as he can't come back and say it was your fault for the contact. You know, if he has space there, then there's nothing to worry us really. Up to 14th, and a lot of forwards and backwards in this race at the moment. We've gained a wee bit, we've lost a bit, held up a bit, and haven't really done any moving at all. We've started in 15th and we're now in 14th. Is there anything to be had on the way in here? And you can see again more aggressive driving from me. I usually would have just lifted off there and concentrated on avoiding the contact, but then would have been off or out of the slipstream of this guy here in front of us instead of being right on him. And again we're going to go aggressive. He comes over to defend it and puts us off. And still in the slipstream of a wee bunch of cars in front of us. And if this guy gets a run on us, I suspect we'll let him have it. We are in the slipstream, so we're getting a bit of protection there. Back on board on the way into the chicane. And we'll give the inside guy a wee nudge in hope that we'll get some side by side action here and another possible pass, but nothing opens up. And you see there he's picked up on outside a penalty. I'm not sure if that was for hitting the wall or for the contact, but as I say, you just can't afford to find yourself on the outside of someone now, unless you open the door up an absolute mile and make sure that there's no chance of any contact. You see, moving over there 3 abreast, making sure we leave space, and we're almost in the top 10 at the moment, although we've had pits. And we just nudge each other, trying to get back up into this big group. And yet again, we've managed to win the Sexy Library Award. The FIA officials at the back of the brain have looked at these liveries, and hands down we are in the sexiest one. I have a funny feeling we're going to break all the records this year in the Sexy Livery Awards, and we're going to clean sweep the whole goddamn season. I can feel it in my bones. Incidents going on ahead of us. Let's watch that one again. We'll get back on board and skip that back. You'll see we got very lucky here as well. Incidents happen up ahead and there's nowhere for us to go at all, and we bounce into the back of someone. 3 of them there, all crashed, and luckily for us we weren't in receipt of any ridiculous penalties. The guy in front of us has a 7-second penalty, and he loses the back end as well to compound things. That's gotta hurt, mate. I feel your pain. And Felix in front of us now. We remembered Felix from our Fuji, one of our Fuji races, where he'd had himself a nightmare of a race as well, and he ended up away at the back of the field with us after qualifying in second, I believe. And then on the last lap he tried to be very aggressive with us, and then we got to take him. He was very aggressive with us, done a ridiculous pass, and we got a 2-second penalty for it in the corner before the last. And then in the last corner we totally took him out, a deliberate takeout in which we received no penalty for. So yeah, Felix had an absolutely awful race that time, as did we, sir, and hopefully there's nothing to be carried on. We'll have a quick skip here. We find ourselves just in a wee spot of space, and you see how we drive to try and not lose any time at all. We see Mr. Baca is getting a run on us, and we immediately open up the inside. We'll lift. It's a fuel saver as well. Every wee bit of fuel can't help you. And I keep on advising people to do this thing at the start of the race as well with your fuel, guys. I have had Harry says to me, "Are you even sure it works?" Well, no, I'm not sure if it works, but everybody else is convinced that it works for 5 or 6 seconds at the start of the race before the race starts. As soon as it goes to everybody's car, they immediately change their fuel settings onto the lean settings, and then 6 or 7 seconds later they put it back up for the start of the race. So all the top lobby guys that I see are doing it that way, and they're convinced that it's working for those few seconds. Whereas as soon as the grid walk starts, if you spin that, you're getting over a whole minute of that stuff. You don't even have to worry about leaving it till there's only 2, until you're right on the countdown to the start, because you're happy that most of the rest of them are only saving it for those few seconds, and you have just been sitting the whole grid walk chilling out on fuel saving mode. And as I say, if you forget in your qualifying, to have it left on the fuel saving mode, just spin absolutely everything at the start of the race, and then whenever it comes to you in your car, you'll need to go to your traction control. It'll be up at 5, and spin it back down to 0, and then whatever you want your brake balance to be at, you'll have time to sort it out before the countdown begins on your fuel. And it means for the entire grid walk you will have been on the lean setting. Whether it works or not, I would suggest there's no harm in doing it. We find ourselves in 7th position in this one. We'll continue with the skip. Into the pits we'll come. We'll keep an eye on the boys. Look at them. Very dark in this pit lane. We dropped a few nuts in practice, and the refueler once on the practice day, he was standing on the wrong side of the car to put the fuel in. That's how dark it was. But we're back out in another wee bit of space. 10th place. Number above us is number 5, so it wanted a top 5 from us in this room. And the boys on up ahead of us starting to get a bit frisky by the looks of it. We'll stay with it here. At the moment it looks like we're about to get ourselves back in the battle for a top 7 here. As someone peels into the pits, and we're out in a bit of slipstream, and there's Felix, another wee bit of luck. Felix right out ahead of us, and I don't mind that wee tap at all. That wee tap is better really than us making a move in Felix, because he's only out of the pits. He's going to be on the move. He's a good guy at the moment for us to be sitting behind. And this guy throws one up the inside of us, and you can see we didn't expect that. We were hoping we were going to be able to follow Felix here, but this guy has had a lunge that we didn't expect, and we have left space there, but he's came out, he's aggressive with his inside passes. We immediately left him the space, trying to avoid the contact, but he's come out and he's caused another incident there, and we're mad now, and we're like, come here, I put my nose on the inside of you, there's another extra wee penalty for you. We were quite upset with him. Again, well, you see he goes into the chicane, causes an incident and hits the wall himself, and there's no way I'm backing out of that. He's just given us a penalty by throwing one up the inside, so I do believe he received more of a penalty there behind us as well after that. But that's more time lost, and this penalty is now going to have an effect on us. We'll skip round to the penalty zone. And I think it looks like we're going to drop out of the top 10 here, possibly. 6 laps to go, but all is not lost. Head back down. I'd be surprised if I didn't go for it in this one. We are being more aggressive this race, especially after those last few incidents that has happened. We were right up with the 6th and 5th place guy. Felix is in 5th now at the moment, so we would have been a couple of 100 yards further up the road. Is this one of those Gran Turismo sales that come up on every so often? It's called that 2 for the price of 1. He's mistimed it a bit and run out. Well, it's 1. With another possible one, you'd like to think by the end of this straight. and a wee penalty up ahead as well. So I can't not even remember what position I got in this one. It's looking good for us at the moment. And nice driving from the both of us there. No contact whatsoever going round that one. And I would say we're going to be aggressive. We're going to place our nose on the inside there. Luckily Baka not picking up a penalty there for that small bit of contact. So maybe if you just tag them at the very rear, it's classed as rear contact rather than side contact. But any kind of side contact at all seems to hand out the penalty to the guy on the outside. We've got a bit of a gap behind us, and I think we're quite happy to sit here behind Baka. He's pulling us forward. He's almost in that slipstream now, the car in front, and he's allowing us to get our fuel under control. And as soon as we feel like we're able to push, usually the last two, most of the time I judge it down to the last 2 laps or the last 3, but for me I tell myself I need 1.2 in order to push and rev a car out, and it seems to work for me. I do usually time the fuel and stuff over the finish line. They almost run out on the line or finish. Although this race here, I think something was a wee bit weird with the fuel maybe in this one too, because the pit lane's halfway around the track. There was one of the races where we couldn't understand why we ended with 0.4 left. You can see still happy and content to be sitting here behind Baka. He seems to have the speed. There's no sense getting into a battle. He's catching guys in front of him, which is what it's all about. If he's already catching them, no sense us revving it out and so on. We'll protect the tyres, lift off, bit of coasting, and Mr. Aya has made his way up behind us. And there you go, on up the road in front of us is a pit party. P5. That positively perfect pit party precision. And we absolutely love a P5. We enjoy a P5 even more than a P4. Because P4 is kind of disappointing, you're just off the podium. And the P5, it's like, alright, get the barbecue on. Three to go. 8th place in this one at the moment. A small skip. Let's see if we can get back up onto these here. So we're still just about clinging in the slipstream. And again, we'll skip along the straight. We'll like behind us. We're in a bit of a gap. There's Mr. Baka making a mistake in the chicane. That was quite lucky for us. That's got us back into the slipstream. And again, Mr. Baka has just caught these guys. I don't think we particularly wanted off Mr. Baka. We know that he's a man on the move. More side by side action with these two cars up ahead, Felix and Rats. Any penalties to be handed out there? Nope, not at the moment. We've got away with it. And we're back in with a dig of P5 once again. After looking like they were starting to leave us and drop us, we'll get a bit lucky. Is there a possible 3 for the price of 1 sale about to open up somewhere? Oh, that's not going to be good, surely. And again, we're on the outside, we're terrified. We immediately lift off and back out of that stuff. We ask Rats to come over while we're there, and then he sees us just too late. He does go to comply to play that game, but he just spotted us a wee bit too late. And it now looks like the pit party has deserted us. We're not going to be able to get 5th place. Has broken away, and it was indeed Mr. Baca, the man who we were happy to sit behind. Rats serving the penalty. Can we get Mr. Felix as well for a top 6 possibly on the last lap? He sends us to the outside like he should do, and now he's in full control. He knows we're terrified of any contact and picking up a penalty, and we'll do a dummy there, just risking it for the biscuit. And on the last lap, you never know, he made a panic, and we brought this one home in 7th. Really enjoyable one yet again. I'll catch you next time, gentlemen.